Hello, welcome. On my last video, it was called How to Start Your Scat Solo on My Romance. I gave you an example and we used lots of space and lots of strong melodic ideas. I told you that I would break it down for you, show you how to accomplish that, and that's what I'm about to do. So I took the liberty of transcribing my own solo just now. So yesterday when I did it, I improvised it, but now I've got it all written out so we can deconstruct it together. I'm just going to play the first part of it for you, maybe the first 8 bars. It goes like this. Actually, that's enough, the first 4 bars. Now, it's a pretty strong melodic idea. And right off the bat, when you hear me sing it, you could write it down. You could hear exactly what I sang and know exactly what to write down. Now, sometimes I hear singers and they'll come up with an idea, but it just won't be as clear. Maybe it'll sound something like, let's see, like that. Maybe they're a little late, maybe they're not so crisp with their articulation, and I just wouldn't really know how to transcribe it if I had to. Now, there's always this question of, are singers trying to sound like instrumentalists when they improvise, or are the instrumentalists trying to sound like singers when they improvise? I think it's both. I don't think we have to have that conversation, because I think sometimes instrumentalists try to sound like they have a voice, and I think sometimes singers try to sound like they have an instrument. In this case, I'm trying to sound like an instrument. I'm trying to sound very precise, very clear. So even with my note choices, my rhythm choices, and also my articulation choices, I'm very clear. And when you listen to the recording back, that's about how the articulation falls. Now, you might want to write, if you do this exercise, you might want to actually jot down the syllables that I say. And highlight the ones that you want to articulate, which would be the first note, the 5th note, and the 8th note. Like that. Those were the ones that I articulated the most, that I accented. That's helpful. That helps you to speak the jazz language. Now, we could go into what scat syllables I chose. And, why didn't I be we could go into that, but we're not going to today. I'm going to save that for another day. It's very simple. Next part. And in the next part, all I do, and this was in my head when I was improvising, I want to take that exact idea that I just used, and I want to tweak it a little bit to fit the next chords. So my next chords is a 2, 5, 1, and F. Right, so I went like that. Nice little articulation on the last da, like that. And it fits nicely. I mean, it could be the start of a new song somebody's writing. It could be. It's strong enough. And that's what I always go for when I start my scat solo. Is this first idea strong enough that you could actually write a song with this melody? Like you could write words to it. Right there, I left a little bit of space. And here comes the next part. Let's see. There, I used a pretty cool technique that I use a lot. I go. It's called sidestepping, and I used to think about it quite a bit when I first started to do it. I don't think about it so much anymore, but I mean, what it is it's a D minor chord, right? So I have a target note that I'm trying to get to, and in this instance, it's the F. It's the 3rd of the chord. That's the first time you really know that I know I'm in a D minor chord. So it falls on the 3rd beat, which is a really strong beat of the measure. And to sidestep means that I put the D right in the middle, and then I sang an E and a C sharp. Da, 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 like that. It's just a little side step. I'll bet I'll do it again. We'll see. Da, 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 da. Now that, right there, I mean, that's a singer, right? An instrumentalist would try to copy us in that instance because we're cool. We can bend and slide like that. And all it is just a little blues device. Da, da, da. It's nice sometimes. It kind of brings a human element to your scat solo. You know, if you're thinking like an instrumentalist and you're playing all these clear lines and you're sidestepping, aiming for target notes, and then you just throw in something totally human like a blue note. I like that. Next part. All that is just using my ear. I'm not even gonna break it down. I just sang what I thought would be a nice melody. I mean, you could totally write some words to that, right? I'm right here, I'm singing you this song, right? You could. Okay, next part. But this part, I kind of like what I did. I didn't realize it at the time, but it's a the next line that I sing goes like this. Like that. And listen to it. It goes like that. I sang the last part a little bit wrong. Like that. Can you hear how that's syncopated? Do you want to know why? It's just because I took a line like that. Let's see. You would normally want to start it on the second beat for 1. Like that, but I didn't. I started it on the and of 1. And I articulated it just like I would have started it on beat 2. Now that's kind of a cool little trick. So I kind of used the idea that I had in the 2 bars preceding. I used it again. I tossed it off by a half beat, and it made a cool effect. Next part. Like that. All I did there was I just thought of a little idea, and to be honest, I remember I got to that B half diminished chord. It's a 2-5 in the key of A minor. Like that. And I thought, what would be a good note to sing? And I thought, well, the melody goes, right? No soft guitars, like that. And I thought, well, I want to sing something that's kind of like that, but I don't want to sing that melody note because I'm not singing the melody. So I just shot for a note above it. Just being honest, that's what I did in the moment. Da, da, da. I'm sure that when I improvised it, I just sang that much and I thought I could keep going. Da, 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 da. And then I thought, that was kind of fun, let's do it again. Da, 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 da. Like that, that's all. It's just a little pattern. And I just kept it going. I didn't quite sing that last part right. It's like that. I kind of went back to the beginning. I knew that at the beginning I did something very clear and precise, and I figured, you know, the last 4 bars I did something kind of abstract. Da 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 da. I better bring everybody back. We know that I know where the beat is, I know where I'm at in the form. I'm gonna go back and do something simple. Let's see it. Da 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 da, like that. Then I go ba da da da. That's kind of important right there. I leave space. I haven't done a ton of it. You can kind of see I use some space from time to time. There's some space. There's some space. There's a half note, that's some space. There's some space, right? So now we're down here. there's quite a bit of space. It's nice to leave space. It lets people know that you're just starting out, that you've got, you know, you're leaving yourself some room. It also lets people know that you have confidence. Nothing wrong with taking a bar or two and just hanging out, just breathing. Some people might think that that makes the audience think you don't know anything. It's the opposite. It's like when you're in a conversation with somebody and you run out of things to say, so you wait a second and you just ask the person something about themselves. It makes you seem so much more intelligent than if you were to keep rambling on about yourself, right? So I think it's the same. It's kind of like a little conversation. So we're tell me about yourself. Right there's another side step. And I did aim for the D7 chord right on the third beat. Right? Side stepping. Let's see. That's kind of a nice little trick I did right there. All I did was I laid back. And when I wrote it down, I wrote 8 eighth notes. And then above it, I wrote the words, lay it back. Because I don't want to notate that, whatever it was that I did. That's it. Like that, right? I don't think I quite sang that right. That's all it is. Yeah, I hit some key notes. We're doing a 2-5-1, a minor 2-5-1 in the key of D minor. So I aimed, and I hit. We've got a flat 5 and a sharp 9. Cool notes. And then we end on the minor third of D minor. That's just something I've learned by listening to people. And that's what you're just gonna learn it by listening to people. You're learning it right now by listening to me. And if you practice it a bunch, it's gonna be in your head and you'll have it. So that's a little trick I do quite often is I articulate with a staccato note on beat 2. I didn't even know it, but I think I do that a lot. Like that. You can say dit. This is where I break into 16th notes because quite honestly, I knew that in the previous video I had gone into 16th notes in my next chorus. In the moment, I wanted to just start building momentum, so I started adding some 16th notes. And you can do that really easily just by coming up with a little pattern. Do you remember how before we came up with that pattern? Da 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 da. I just came up with another little pattern. It's really classical. It's really Mozart, actually. Da 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 da. And then I just kept it going to make it sound good and be in the key. Da 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 da. Let's see, where are we? Da 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 da. I forget what I did. Like that. It's a little complicated, but you get the point. I'm moving right into my next chorus, so I'm adding some 16th notes. And I swear, in my next video, I'm going to show you how to add some 16th notes, how to articulate, how to choose which notes you pick, how to find some nice rhythms. It's going to be beautiful. All right, thanks everybody for watching. I hope that helped you out. And please, if you ever have any questions, write them in the comments section. Share this with your friends, anybody that you think could be benefited by it. And I really appreciate your subscription and your viewing. Thank you, guys.